The rainbow sprinkles caught the light as Emma reached for her birthday cake, 23 children laughing around tables covered in unicorn decorations. I had worked overtime for 3 months to afford this $2,500 party. Then, Patricia stepped directly into my daughter's path, blocking her from the dessert table at her own celebration. "You can't eat any of the food," my sister-in-law announced loud enough for everyone to hear. "Ask your mom for a plate." Emma's face crumpled in confusion while every single child stopped playing and stared. Her 8th birthday party ground to a devastating halt. 3 months earlier, Emma had whispered her birthday wish against my shoulder as I tucked her into bed. "Mommy, can we have the most beautiful unicorn party ever, with real cake towers and everything magical?" Her eyes sparkled with the pure hope only an 8-year-old can possess. I kissed her forehead and promised her the celebration of her dreams, even though I knew it meant picking up extra shifts at the accounting firm where I worked as a senior bookkeeper. Every evening after Emma fell asleep, I researched party venues, compared catering packages, and calculated costs down to the last penny. The Enchanted Garden Event Center offered exactly what Emma described in her dreams: crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking manicured gardens, and tables that transformed into fairy tale settings. The venue fee alone cost $800, but Emma's happiness was worth every sacrifice. I worked through lunch breaks, stayed late filing quarterly reports, and even picked up weekend data entry projects to save the money. David, my husband of 12 years, watched me pore over budget spreadsheets each night. "Honey, maybe we could do something smaller at the house," he suggested gently. But I remembered my own childhood birthdays celebrated with store-bought cupcakes and paper plates. Emma deserved magic. The invitations went out 6 weeks before the party. Handcrafted purple cards with glittering unicorns and Emma's careful third-grade handwriting addressing each envelope. 23 classmates plus cousins, Ashley, Brandon, and Tyler. Emma carried the stack to the mailbox herself, bouncing with excitement as she raised the red flag for pickup. Planning consumed my evenings. I ordered custom unicorn centerpieces, researched allergy-friendly menu options, and coordinated with the venue coordinator about timing every detail. The cake alone took weeks of consultations with Sweet Dreams Bakery. 3 tiers of vanilla sponge with strawberry filling covered in lavender fondant and topped with an edible unicorn horn that spiraled toward the ceiling. The baker assured me it would be the centerpiece Emma remembered for the rest of her life. Saturday morning arrived with September sunshine streaming through our kitchen windows. Emma woke before her alarm, dancing through the house in her specially chosen unicorn dress. Silver sequins caught the light as she spun, her blonde hair bouncing in careful curls I had set the night before. "Today is finally here, Mommy, my real birthday party." David loaded our car with gift bags I had assembled the previous evening. Each contained a small stuffed unicorn rainbow stickers and homemade cookies shaped like stars. Emma clutched her own special gift bag, refusing to let it leave her sight during the drive to the venue. The Enchanted Garden exceeded even my expectations. Burgundy velvet chairs surrounded tables draped in shimmering silver cloth. Fresh white roses and baby's breath created magical arrangements between the unicorn centerpieces. The dessert station stretched along the entire back wall, displaying the 3-tier cake alongside towers of cupcakes decorated with edible glitter, a candy buffet filled with rainbow treats, and individual unicorn cookies with each child's name written in purple icing. Emma gasped when she saw the transformation. "It's like we're inside a real fairy tale." She ran from table to table, touching each place, setting and reading the hand-calligraphed name cards I had written myself. Every detail reflected months of careful planning and genuine love. Guests began arriving at exactly 2 o'clock. Children poured through the entrance in their best party clothes, parents carrying beautifully wrapped presents. Emma greeted each friend personally, her joy infectious. as she led tours around the magical space. Madison, her best friend since kindergarten, squeezed Emma's hand and whispered, "This is the most beautiful party I've ever seen." Patricia arrived 45 minutes late with her 3 children trailing behind. My sister-in-law wore a tight black dress that seemed inappropriate for a children's party, her dark hair pulled severely back in a style that emphasized her sharp cheekbones. She surveyed the venue with narrowed brown eyes, her lips pressed into a thin line of disapproval. Well, this is certainly elaborate," Patricia commented, her voice carrying across the room as other parents turned to listen. "I hope you didn't go overboard with the sugar content. Children these days have enough dietary problems without adding unnecessary temptations." I forced a smile, determined not to let anything dampen Emma's special day. "The menu has lots of fresh fruit options, too." Emma helped me choose everything herself. Ashley, Brandon, and Tyler immediately joined the other children at the craft station, but Patricia remained near the entrance, her critical gaze cataloging every expensive detail. She approached the dessert table and began examining each item with the intensity of a health inspector. "These cupcakes look incredibly rich," she announced to no one in particular. "I'm surprised you didn't consider the dietary restrictions of the other families. What if someone has diabetes or celiac disease?" My chest tightened with the first stirring of irritation. Every invitation had included a detailed ingredient list and contact information for questions about allergies. 3 families had responded with specific dietary needs, and I had worked with the caterer to provide safe alternatives for those children. The party activities flowed perfectly for the first hour. Children rotated between face painting, bracelet making, and a treasure hunt through the venue's garden. Emma glowed with happiness as she played alongside her friends, her laughter ringing through the decorated space like music. At 3:30, I announced it was time for cake and dessert. The children cheered and rushed toward the dessert table, their excitement building as they saw the magnificent display. Emma led the way, practically floating in her unicorn dress as she approached her dream cake. That's when Patricia positioned herself directly between Emma and the dessert table. "You can't eat any of the food, Ides," she declared in a voice that carried across the entire venue. "Ask your mom for a plate." The room fell silent except for the soft instrumental music playing through the sound system. 23 children froze in their tracks, confusion replacing excitement on their young faces. Emma stopped mid-step, her smile fading as she looked up at her aunt with bewildered eyes. But it's my birthday cake," Emma whispered, her voice small and uncertain. Patricia's voice grew louder, addressing the crowd of parents and children. "Emma has severe food allergies. Shari never told any of you. Your children could have been exposed to dangerous allergens." My blood turned to ice water in my veins. Emma had no food allergies, not a single one. Our pediatrician had tested her thoroughly just 6 months earlier during her annual checkup. I opened my mouth to correct the lie, but Patricia's voice boomed over mine, commanding the attention of every adult in the room. The effect of Patricia's announcement was immediate and devastating. Mrs. Henderson Madison's mother instinctively pulled her daughter back from the dessert table. Mr. and Mrs. Garcia exchanged concerned glances and began moving toward their twin boys. The festive atmosphere transformed into something resembling a medical emergency as parents processed the implications of Patricia's words. "I had no idea," whispered Mrs. Chen, Ashley's classroom teacher, who had brought her own daughter to the party. "Shouldn't there have been warning signs posted? What kind of allergies are we talking about?" I stepped forward, my hands shaking as I tried to project calm authority. "There's been a misunderstanding. Emma doesn't have any food allergies. She's been medically cleared to eat everything here today." Patricia cut me off with a dismissive wave. "Of course you would say that now, Sherry. You've always been irresponsible about medical issues." She turned to address the increasingly worried parents. I'm a registered nurse, and I can tell you the signs of severe allergic reactions. Emma could go into anaphylactic shock from cross-contamination alone. The lie was so bold and specific that several parents began nodding in agreement. Patricia had never worked as a nurse. She had dropped out of nursing school 15 years earlier and currently worked part-time at a dental office doing administrative filing, but her confident medical language convinced people who didn't know better. Should we call an ambulance?" asked Mr. Thompson, his phone already in his hand. "If there's a medical emergency happening, we need to take this seriously." Emma began crying, her tears falling onto the sequined fabric of her special dress. She didn't understand the complicated adult conversation swirling around her, but she recognized that something terrible was happening at her own birthday party. "Mommy, why can't I have my cake? Did I do something wrong?" My heart shattered watching my daughter blame herself for her aunt's cruelty. I knelt down and wrapped Emma in my arms, whispering reassurances while Patricia continued her performance for the captivated audience. Look, she's already showing signs of distress," Patricia announced, pointing at Emma's tears. "This is exactly what I was worried about. Sherry, you should have prepared proper documentation. Where's Emma's EpiPen, her medical alert bracelet?" From her purse, Patricia produced a child-sized medical alert bracelet, the kind used for severe food allergies. The silver chain caught the light as she held it up for everyone to see. "This is what Emma should be wearing today. I brought it just in case Sherry forgot again." The bracelet was clearly brand new, the price tag removed, but the metal still bearing the protective plastic coating from the manufacturer. Patricia had obviously purchased it recently, planning this moment in advance. The realization hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't a spontaneous concern for child safety. This was premeditated sabotage. "I've never seen that bracelet before in my life," I said, my voice growing stronger as anger began replacing shock. "Emma has no allergies. Her pediatrician can verify that right now if anyone wants to call." Sherry, please." David's voice came from behind me. My husband approached slowly, his face pale and conflicted. "Maybe we should just serve Emma something safe. You know Patricia's just being cautious." His words felt like a second betrayal. David knew Emma's medical history as well as I did. We had celebrated together when the allergy tests came back completely negative. Yet here, he stood publicly undermining me while his sister destroyed our daughter's birthday party. Patricia smiled triumphantly at David's implicit support. "Thank you, David. It's refreshing to see someone prioritize child safety over party planning." The venue's event coordinator, a young woman named Jessica, approached our group with obvious concern. "Ma'am, if there's a medical situation, we need to follow our safety protocols. Our liability insurance requires documentation of any serious allergies before food service." Of course," Patricia replied smoothly. "I completely understand your position. Unfortunately, Sherry didn't provide advance notice, which puts everyone at risk." More parents began gathering their belongings. The Nakamura family packed up their camera equipment, their son looking confused as his mother hurried him toward the exit. "We can't take chances with allergic reactions," Mrs. Nakamura explained apologetically. "We'll send Emma's gift by mail." Emma watched her friends leaving and began sobbing harder. "Please don't go. It's my unicorn party. I just want to share my cake." Her innocent pleading made several parents pause their expressions, softening with sympathy. But Patricia's medical authority had planted seeds of fear that were spreading through the group like wildfire. "Oh, actually," interrupted a new voice. "I think we should get some clarity here." Dr. Rachel Martinez stepped forward from the group of parents. She was the mother of Emma's classmate Sophie, but more importantly, she was a pediatric allergist at Children's Hospital. Her professional credentials carried immediate weight in the room. "As a medical doctor specializing in childhood allergies, I'm very interested in this situation," Dr. Martinez said calmly. "Patricia, you mentioned being a registered nurse. Could you specify which hospital you're currently practicing at? And Emma Sweetie, Have you ever had any reactions to food before? Patricia's confident expression flickered for just a moment. I'm currently between positions, but my experience speaks for itself. And children don't always show obvious symptoms until it's too late. That's interesting, Dr. Martinez replied, pulling out her phone. Because I maintain the registry for all severe pediatric allergies in this county, and I don't have any record of Emma requiring emergency intervention. Shari, would you mind if I called Emma's pediatrician to verify her medical status? Relief flooded through me like cool water. Please do. Dr. Johnson at Riverside Pediatrics. I can give you his direct number. Patricia's face flushed red as she realized her lie was about to be professionally exposed. That's completely unnecessary. We're just being cautious here. Oh, but it is necessary, Dr. Martinez said firmly, her phone already dialing. If Emma truly has life-threatening allergies, her doctor needs to know she's at an event without proper medical supervision. The room grew quiet, except for the sound of Dr. Martinez speaking professionally to Emma's pediatrician. After a brief conversation, confirming Emma's complete lack of food allergies, she hung up and addressed the room. Emma has no diagnosed food allergies. Dr. Johnson confirmed her last comprehensive testing was completely negative for all common allergens. A collective exhale swept through the remaining parents. Some looked embarrassed for having been deceived, while others appeared annoyed at Patricia for creating false panic. Patricia, however, doubled down on her deception with a move that shocked even me. She grabbed my arm and pulled me aside, speaking in a harsh whisper that carried more venom than any shout. You embarrassed our family by spending money you don't have on this ridiculous party. David told me about your credit card debt. This party stops now, or I tell everyone about your financial problems too. The threat hit me like a slap across the face. Not only had Patricia planned to destroy Emma's party with medical lies, but she was prepared to humiliate our entire family by exposing private financial information. Information that David had apparently shared with her during some moment of weakness or complaint. As I stood there processing the depths of her calculated cruelty, Patricia smiled and returned to the group of parents, her voice honey sweet once again. Well, I suppose if the doctor says it's safe, we can continue. I was just being extra careful because I love Emma so much. But the damage was already done. Half the families had left. The remaining children looked uncertain and scared. Emma sat at her beautiful unicorn table surrounded by empty chairs where her friends should have been celebrating. The party I had worked 3 months to afford, the magical day I had sacrificed everything to create, lay in ruins around us. And Patricia stood in the center of the destruction, adjusting her black dress and smiling like she had just saved everyone from disaster. I found David in the venue's coat closet area, his shoulders slumped in defeat as he stared at his phone. The sound of forced celebration drifted from the main room where the remaining children half-heartedly participated in activities, while their parents whispered among themselves about the strange medical drama they had witnessed. We need to talk, I said quietly, closing the door behind us. Right now. David looked up with guilty eyes that told me everything I needed to know before he even spoke. Sherry, I never meant for this to happen. I was just venting to Patricia about the party costs during a phone call last week. Venting about what exactly? My voice remained steady, but inside I was calculating the full scope of his betrayal. What did you tell your sister about our finances? He rubbed his face with both hands, a gesture I recognized from our 12 years of marriage, as his way of avoiding difficult conversations. I mentioned that we were putting the party on credit cards, and maybe I said something about feeling stressed about the cost. The understatement was breathtaking in its inadequacy. David hadn't just mentioned our financial planning. He had complained about my choices to the one person in his family who had always resented me giving her ammunition to destroy Emma's birthday party. Patricia knew exactly how much this party cost me, I realized aloud. She knew I worked overtime for months. She planned this whole allergic reaction story to humiliate me in front of everyone. That's not fair, Sherry. Patricia was genuinely concerned about child safety. His defense of his sister's obvious lies made something snap inside my chest. David, she bought a fake medical bracelet and lied about being a registered nurse. She told a room full of parents that our daughter could die from eating her own birthday cake. In what universe is that genuine concern? Before David could respond, the coat closet door opened and Jennifer, David's younger cousin, slipped inside. Her face was flushed with anger and something that looked like relief. I need to tell you both something, Jennifer said urgently. Sherry Patricia tried to pull this exact same thing with me last month at Tyler's soccer tournament. David and I both stared at her. Jennifer was typically the peacekeeper of the family, rarely involving herself in conflicts or drama. For her to seek us out meant something significant was happening. What do you mean the exact same thing? I asked. Jennifer took a deep breath, clearly nervous about breaking family loyalty, but determined to continue. Patricia approached several family members after Tyler's game, claiming I was being irresponsible with my kids' safety. She made up a story about me letting them play on dangerous equipment without proper supervision. That's completely different, David protested weakly. No, it's not, Jennifer continued firmly. She used the same pattern, create a fake safety crisis position herself as the responsible adult, then publicly humiliate the mother while making herself look like the hero. She did it because I got a promotion at work and she was jealous. My mind raced as I processed this information. Patricia had a history of targeting other women in the family manufacturing crises to tear them down. Emma's party wasn't a spontaneous disaster. It was the latest campaign in an ongoing war I hadn't even known existed. She's been doing this for months? I asked. Oh, longer, Jennifer admitted. Remember when Cousin Rachel's wedding got that weird drama about the catering? Or when Aunt Susan suddenly questioned whether baby James should be baptized because of supposed family religious concerns that came out of nowhere? Each example hit like a puzzle piece clicking into place. Patricia had been systematically undermining other women's important life events, creating doubt and conflict around moments that should have been pure joy. She had become the family's expert at manufacturing emergencies. Why didn't anyone say anything before? David asked, his voice small. Because she's very good at making it look like legitimate concern, Jennifer explained. And because she targets us when we're vulnerable. New promotions, special events, important milestones, times when we're happy and successful and she's struggling. Through the coat closet's thin walls, we could hear Patricia's voice in the main room, now speaking to someone on her cell phone. I pressed my ear against the door and listened to her side of the conversation. It's working perfectly, Patricia was saying. She'll never recover from this embarrassment. David will finally see what kind of wife he married when this whole financial mess comes to light. My blood turned to liquid fire hearing those words. This wasn't about child safety or medical concerns. This was about destroying my marriage and my reputation as a mother. Patricia had planned this character assassination for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment to execute her attack. David heard it too, his face going white as he finally understood the true scope of his sister's manipulation. Oh God, Sherry, what have I done? Before I could answer, Jennifer's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at the screen and her expression darkened further. Patricia just sent a group text to the whole extended family, Jennifer said, holding up her phone. She's claiming that you're having a mental breakdown at Emma's party and that David needs family support to deal with your unstable behavior. The text message was a masterpiece of manipulation written in Patricia's concerned sister-in-law voice. It painted me as an irresponsible mother who had endangered children's safety and was now becoming hysterical when confronted with the truth. She suggested that family members should rally around David during this difficult time when his wife was clearly struggling with reality. Wow, she's trying to turn the entire family against me, I whispered, the full magnitude of her plan becoming clear. This was never about Emma's party. This is about isolating me completely. David finally seemed to grasp what he had enabled. Jennifer, how many people are on that group text? 23 family members, she replied, including your parents, Uncle Robert, Aunt Susan, all the cousins, everyone who matters in our family structure. Patricia had weaponized our extended family's group communication, spreading lies to people who weren't present to witness the truth. By the time we could respond or correct her story, the damage would be irreversible. Family members would have already formed opinions based on her carefully crafted narrative. But as I stood in that coat closet listening to Patricia destroy my reputation, while my daughter's ruined birthday party continued in the next room, something crystallized in my mind. I was done being defensive. I was done trying to prove my innocence to people who were determined to believe lies. It was time to go on the offensive. Oh, Jennifer, I said quietly, do you still have that recording app on your phone, the one you use for work meetings? She nodded, understanding immediately what I was suggesting. David, go back out there and keep Patricia talking. Get her to repeat her lies about Emma's medical condition. Make her think she's winning. Sherry, what are you planning? He asked nervously. I'm planning to teach your sister that attacking my child has consequences she never considered. And I'm getting to do it in front of everyone who matters. Through the wall, I could hear Emma's small voice asking someone where her mommy went and why her birthday cake was still sitting uncut on the table. My daughter's confusion and hurt feelings gave me all the motivation I needed to end Patricia's reign of family terror once and for all. While David returned to the main party room and Jennifer positioned herself strategically with her recording app, I stepped outside the venue to make the most important phone call of the day. Dr. Johnson's answering service connected me directly to his personal line, something he had offered all his longtime families for genuine emergencies. Oh, Sherry, I already spoke with Dr. Martinez about Emma's allergy status, he said immediately upon answering. Is everything all right at the party? Dr. Johnson, I need you to do something that might sound unusual, I said, pacing across the venue's elegant stone patio. Can you send me official documentation right now that Emma has no food allergies? Something I can show to a room full of parents who were just told she could die from eating her own birthday cake. He was quiet for a moment, processing the implications of my request. Someone told parents that Emma has life-threatening food allergies. That's not just medically inaccurate, Sherry. That could be considered reckless endangerment if it caused unnecessary panic. It gets worse, I explained quickly. The person who made these claims is my sister-in-law, and she's now spreading rumors to our extended family that I'm mentally unstable and endangering children. I need proof that she's lying about everything. Give me 10 minutes, Dr. Johnson said firmly. I'm sending you Emma's complete allergy panel results, a letter confirming her medical clearance, and my contact information for anyone who wants to verify directly with me. This kind of medical misinformation is dangerous and completely unprofessional. While waiting for the documentation, I called my friend Rachel, who worked as a paralegal at a family law firm. If Patricia was going to escalate this into questions about my fitness as a mother, I needed to understand my legal options. Sherry, slow down, Rachel said after I explained the situation in rapid-fire sentences. Someone falsely claimed your child has life-threatening allergies at a public event, and now they're sending group texts claiming you're mentally unstable. Is that illegal? Can people just lie about medical conditions to hurt someone's reputation? It depends on the specifics, but yes, there are several laws that could apply here. Defamation, certainly. Possibly harassment if there's a pattern of behavior. And if she's impersonating medical authority, she doesn't have, that's fraud. My phone buzzed with Dr. Johnson's promised documentation. 3 official documents clearly stating Emma's negative allergy status, along with his professional letterhead and direct contact information for verification. Rachel, can you do me one more favor? Can you conference call me with your boss who handles family law? I think I might need professional advice about protecting my daughter from this kind of targeting. Absolutely. Laura handles cases like this all the time. Give me 5 minutes to brief her. While Rachel set up the legal consultation, I returned to the party through the venue's side entrance, staying hidden behind the decorative columns where I could observe without being seen. Patricia stood near the gift table, speaking animatedly to Marcus, who had apparently arrived while I was making phone calls. Marcus looked confused and uncomfortable as Patricia gestured dramatically clearly, giving him her version of the day's events. He kept glancing toward Emma, who sat alone at the head table, still in her beautiful unicorn dress, but looking small and defeated. "No, I don't understand," Marcus was saying. "Emma looks fine to me. Why would Sherry hide medical problems from everyone?" Because she's always been careless about important details," Patricia replied. "Remember how she handled the planning for Mom's funeral service? Complete disaster because she wouldn't listen to anyone else's input." The lie was breathtaking in its audacity. I had planned David's mother's funeral service 3 years earlier, and every family member had praised my attention to detail and sensitivity during an incredibly difficult time. Patricia was now rewriting history to support her current character assassination. Jennifer appeared at my elbow holding her phone discreetly. "I got everything," she whispered. Her admitting she lied about the allergies, her explaining her plan to humiliate you, and her telling Marcus that she's been documenting your erratic behavior for months to build a case for David to consider divorce. My hands started shaking as the true scope of Patricia's campaign became clear. This wasn't just about ruining a birthday party. She was systematically trying to destroy my marriage by manufacturing evidence of my instability and irresponsibility as a wife and mother. Rachel called back with her boss Laura on a 3-way connection. I quickly summarized the situation while watching Patricia continue to poison Marcus against me. "Sherry, this is Laura Williams," came a calm, professional voice. "Based on what Rachel's told me, you're dealing with what we call targeted harassment with defamatory content. The medical impersonation angle is particularly serious. Do you have evidence of these false claims?" "I have a recording of her admitting she lied about my daughter's medical condition. And I have witness testimony from multiple parents who heard her false medical claims." "Well, that's excellent documentation. Now, I want you to understand something important. If this person is systematically attacking your reputation as a mother and spreading false information to your family support network that could constitute harassment with intent to interfere with custody or family relationships." The legal terminology made everything feel more serious and more real. Patricia wasn't just being cruel. She was potentially committing crimes that could affect my relationship with my daughter and my marriage. "What should I do right now?" I asked. "Document everything. Save all text messages, record any additional false statements if possible, and gather witness statements from today's incident. If this escalates, you'll want a clear paper trail showing the pattern of behavior." My phone buzzed with another group text from Patricia, this one sent to an even larger family list, including David's parents and grandparents. The message claimed that I had become increasingly unstable over the past year and suggested that Emma might be better off staying with other family members until I could get professional help. The cruelty was stunning, but the strategic thinking behind it was even more frightening. Patricia wasn't acting impulsively. She was methodically building a narrative that could potentially be used against me in family court if she convinced David to question our marriage. Jennifer read the new text over my shoulder and gasped. "Shari, she's telling your in-laws that you're an unfit mother. David's mom is going to read this and panic. But as I watched Patricia's performance continue in the main room, I noticed something important. Marcus looked increasingly uncomfortable with his wife's explanations. He kept asking specific questions that Patricia couldn't answer satisfactorily. If Emma really has severe allergies, why don't I know about this? Marcus asked. I've watched her eat regular food at family dinners for years. You just don't pay attention to these things, Patricia replied dismissively. Men rarely notice health details. That's not true, and you know it. I notice everything about kids' health because of my own childhood asthma. This doesn't make sense, Patricia. Marcus's doubt was creating a crack in Patricia's carefully constructed story. If I could widen that crack with evidence and truth, her entire campaign might collapse under its own weight. Dr. Johnson called back with additional information. Sherry, I've been thinking about this situation and I want you to know that I'm prepared to make a statement to any authorities if necessary. False medical claims that endanger children or cause public panic are serious matters. I've seen cases where this kind of misinformation led to actual medical emergencies. Armed with legal advice, medical documentation, recorded confessions, and a growing list of witnesses, I realized I had everything I needed to end Patricia's attack. But I wanted to do it in a way that would protect Emma and teach my daughter that truth and justice matter more than family politics. It was time to return to my daughter's birthday party and reclaim the celebration Patricia had tried to steal from us. I walked back into the main party room, carrying Dr. Johnson's medical documentation and Jennifer's recorded evidence. But most importantly, I carried the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're about to speak nothing but truth. The remaining families had gathered around the craft table trying to salvage some normalcy for the children, while the adults cast uncertain glances toward Patricia, who was still holding court near the gift display. Emma saw me first and ran across the room, her unicorn dress flowing behind her. Mommy, where did you go? Everyone's being weird about my birthday cake, and I still don't understand why. I knelt down to her eye level, brushing a strand of blonde hair away from her tear-stained cheek. Sweetheart, sometimes adults say things that aren't true, and it takes time to fix the confusion. But we're going to fix it right now, okay? Standing slowly, I addressed the room in a clear voice that cut through the scattered conversations. Excuse me, everyone. I have some important information to share that will clear up the confusion about Emma's medical condition. The room gradually quieted as parents and children turned their attention toward me. Patricia's expression shifted from confident to wary as she realized I wasn't retreating in defeat, as she had expected. 1. First, I want to thank Dr. Martinez for calling Emma's pediatrician to verify her health status. I began holding up the official medical documentation. Dr. Johnson has provided written confirmation that Emma has 0 food allergies and is medically cleared to eat everything served at today's party. I handed the papers to Dr. Martinez, who reviewed them quickly and nodded to the room. These are official medical records confirming what we discussed earlier. Emma has no dietary restrictions or food allergies of any kind. Patricia stepped forward, her voice taking on a defensive edge. Well, of course, her regular doctor would say that. Pediatricians don't always catch everything. I was just being cautious based on symptoms I've observed during family gatherings. What symptoms? I asked calmly. Can you describe any specific incident where Emma showed signs of food allergies in your presence? The question hung in the air as Patricia struggled to invent details for a medical condition that had never existed. Well, there was that time at Christmas when she seemed a little congested after dinner. Christmas dinner, where she had a head cold that lasted 3 days, I replied. The same cold that Tyler and Brandon both caught from their daycare. Are you suggesting that normal childhood respiratory infections are signs of food allergies? Marcus looked at his wife with growing confusion. Patricia, you never mentioned observing any allergy symptoms. When did this become a concern for you? Before Patricia could answer, Jennifer stepped forward with her phone. Actually, I think everyone should hear something interesting I recorded about 20 minutes ago. Patricia's face went white as Jennifer pressed play on the recording. Her own voice filled the room crystal clear and undeniably authentic. It's working perfectly. She'll never recover from this embarrassment. David will finally see what kind of wife he married when this whole financial mess comes to light. The silence that followed was deafening. Parents exchanged shocked glances while Patricia stood frozen, realizing her private gloating had been captured and broadcast to her victims. That recording was made while Patricia was speaking to someone on the phone, Jennifer explained. She wasn't concerned about Emma's health. She was celebrating the success of her plan to humiliate Sherry at her daughter's birthday party. Mrs. Henderson, Madison's mother, looked appalled. You deliberately created a fake medical emergency at a child's birthday party. Like, you don't understand, as Patricia said desperately. Sherry was being financially irresponsible with this expensive party. Someone needed to intervene before things got completely out of control. The admission that her real concern was financial rather than medical only made things worse. Mr. Thompson, who had been ready to call paramedics earlier, shook his head in disgust. So you lied about a child's medical condition because you disagreed with her parents' party budget. That's absolutely unacceptable. Patricia tried another approach, her voice becoming pleading. Look, maybe I got carried away, but my intentions were good. I was trying to help David see that Sherry makes impulsive decisions without considering the consequences. By traumatizing an 8-year-old girl at her own birthday party, Dr. Martinez's professional outrage was evident. By impersonating medical authority and spreading false information that could have caused actual medical emergencies, I pulled out my phone and showed the room Patricia's group texts. This is what Patricia sent to our extended family while we were dealing with her fake medical crisis. She told them I was having a mental breakdown and suggested that Emma should be removed from my care. The texts passed from parent to parent, each person reading Patricia's calculated attacks on my mental stability and fitness as a mother. The gasps and expressions of horror showed how clearly everyone understood the cruelty and premeditation involved. This is harassment, said Mr. Garcia quietly. This is targeted harassment designed to destroy a mother's relationship with her child and family. Marcus looked devastated as he read his wife's texts. Patricia, what is wrong with you? Why would you attack Sherry like this? Emma is just a little girl who wanted to celebrate her birthday. Because she thinks she's better than everyone else. Patricia finally exploded, her careful facade cracking completely. She works overtime to afford fancy parties while I can barely pay for Tyler's soccer league fees. She makes the rest of us look bad with her perfect mom performance, and I'm sick of pretending to be happy about it. The raw jealousy and resentment in her voice shocked even me. This wasn't about medical concerns or financial responsibility. This was about a woman who resented other people's happiness and success enough to attack their children. Wait, so you decided to destroy an 8-year-old's birthday party because you're jealous of her mother, Mrs. Chen asked incredulously. Emma, who had been listening to parts of this adult conversation without fully understanding it, suddenly spoke up in her clear child's voice. Aunt Patricia, why did you want to ruin my birthday? Did I do something wrong? The innocent question hit the room like a physical blow. Here was the real victim of Patricia's manipulation, a confused little girl who couldn't understand why an adult she trusted had deliberately hurt her on her special day. Patricia looked at Emma and for the first time seemed to grasp the impact of her actions on an actual child, rather than just her abstract resentment toward me. Her face crumpled as she realized that everyone in the room now saw her exactly as she was, a woman who had bullied a child to hurt her mother. But her breakdown wasn't over yet. In a final desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative, Patricia made the most shocking accusation of all. How fine you want to know the truth. Sherry is an unfit mother who prioritizes appearances over her child's well being. If necessary, I'll call Child Protective Services and report her for financial negligence and emotional instability. The threat to involve CPS in her campaign of harassment was the final straw for everyone in the room. Even the parents who hadn't been sure what to make of the earlier drama now understood they were witnessing something much more serious than a family disagreement. Dr. Martinez stood up slowly, her professional authority commanding immediate attention. Patricia, as a mandated reporter, I need you to understand something very clearly. False reports to Child Protective Services constitute abuse of the system and can result in criminal charges. If you contact CPS with fabricated claims against Sherry, I will personally testify about your behavior today and provide evidence of your pattern of harassment. Uncle Robert, who had arrived quietly during the confrontation, stepped forward from the back of the room. His presence surprised everyone, as he rarely attended children's parties or family gatherings. "Patricia," he said in a grave voice, "you made this exact same threat against Jennifer's family last year during that soccer incident, and you made similar threats against Rachel during her wedding planning. This isn't the first time you've used CPS threats to bully other mothers in our family." Uncle Robert's revelation sent shockwaves through the room as family members began connecting dots they had never noticed before. The quiet, reliable uncle who usually stayed out of family drama had been watching Patricia's pattern of behavior for much longer than anyone realized. "What do you mean the exact same threat?" Marcus demanded, his voice shaking with a mixture of anger and disbelief. Uncle Robert pulled out his phone and scrolled through saved text messages. "Patricia sent me a message last October asking if I thought Jennifer was fit to supervise children after that supposed playground incident. She suggested that someone should alert the proper authorities about Jennifer's parenting choices." He turned the phone screen toward the room, showing Patricia's words preserved in digital evidence. She used almost identical language about Rachel being an unstable bride who might not be suitable for motherhood when she got pregnant right after her wedding. Jennifer gasped, pieces of her own experience falling into place. "Patricia, you've been targeting new mothers in our family for years. Anyone who achieved something you wanted or had celebrations that made you feel inadequate." The pattern was undeniable once laid out clearly. Patricia had been systematically attacking other women during their most vulnerable and important moments, using threats about child welfare as her primary weapon. How many other families have you done this to?" David asked his sister, his voice barely above a whisper. "How many special days have you destroyed because you couldn't stand seeing other people happy?" Patricia's face cycled through denial, defiance, and finally a breakdown that seemed to come from somewhere deep and painful. "You don't understand what it's like," she sobbed. "Everyone else gets these perfect lives while mine falls apart. Marcus lost his job 6 months ago. We're behind on mortgage payments. Tyler needs dental work we can't afford." The admission of their financial struggles explained some of her resentment, but didn't excuse the cruelty of her methods. Several family members shifted uncomfortably as they realized Patricia's attacks had been motivated by her own family's hidden crisis. "Why didn't you ask for help?" Aunt Susan asked gently. "Why didn't you tell us you were struggling instead of attacking everyone else?" "Because asking for help means admitting failure," Patricia replied through her tears. "It's easier to tear other people down than to build yourself back up." Marcus wrapped his arms around his wife, but his expression showed the pain of learning about her secret campaign against his family members. "Patricia, we could have figured out the money problems together, but this attacking children and lying about medical emergencies, I don't know how to fix this." Emma, who had been watching the adult drama with wide, confused eyes, suddenly walked over to where Patricia was crying. In her innocent 8-year-old wisdom, she gently touched her aunt's arm. "Aunt Patricia, if you needed help with money, Mommy always says we should ask family for help instead of being mean to people. You could have asked instead of trying to ruin my birthday. The simple truth from a child's perspective cut through all the complicated adult emotions and manipulations. Patricia looked down at Emma with fresh tears, finally seeing the real impact of her choices on an innocent person who had only ever wanted to love her. Emma, sweetheart, I'm so sorry, Patricia whispered. I made terrible choices because I was sad and angry, but that's not your fault. You didn't deserve any of this on your special day. Dr. Martinez, who had been observing the family dynamics with professional interest, spoke up again. Patricia, what you've described sounds like depression and financial stress that manifested as misdirected anger toward other people's success. Have you considered getting professional help to process these feelings in healthier ways? I've thought about it, Patricia admitted. But therapy costs money we don't have, and I was afraid people would judge me for needing help. Therapy costs less than the legal consequences you're facing if you continue making false reports and harassing family members, Uncle Robert said firmly. And there are community mental health resources available if cost is the barrier. Marcus nodded slowly. We'll find a way to get you help, Patricia. But first, you need to fix the damage you've done here. You need to apologize publicly to Sherry and Emma, and you need to send a correction message to every family member you texted lies about Sherry's mental health. The room waited as Patricia struggled with the humiliation of public accountability. Finally, she stood up and faced me directly. Sherry, I owe you a sincere apology. Everything I said about Emma's health was a lie. Everything I said about your mental stability was a lie. I was jealous of your success as a mother and your ability to give Emma beautiful experiences like this party. I tried to destroy your reputation because I felt bad about my own situation, and that was completely wrong. She turned to Emma next. Emma, honey, I'm sorry I tried to ruin your birthday party. You deserve to have wonderful celebrations, and your mommy worked very hard to give you this magical day. I hope you can forgive me for being mean to you. Emma, with the remarkable forgiveness capacity that only children possess, hugged her aunt gently. It's okay, Aunt Patricia, but next time, just ask for help instead of being mean. Okay. Patricia pulled out her phone and began typing a group message to the extended family. With the room watching, she sent a complete retraction of her earlier lies, explaining that she had made false statements about my mental health and parenting due to her own personal struggles. Dr. Martinez approached me privately, while Patricia continued her apologies to individual family members. Sherry, I want you to know that I'm documenting today's incident in case you need professional testimony about what happened here. This kind of systematic harassment targeting mothers and children is something I report when necessary. Nay, thank you, I replied, feeling the weight of professional support behind my experience. I hope Patricia gets the help she needs, but I also need to protect Emma from future incidents. David finally approached me, his face showing the full impact of realizing how his sister had manipulated him and endangered our family. Sherry, I don't know how to apologize for what I enabled. I shared our private financial information with Patricia, and she used it against you and Emma. We'll talk about that later, I said quietly. Right now, I want to salvage what's left of our daughter's birthday party. Jessica, the venue coordinator, had been watching the family drama unfold with professional concern. She approached with a solution that surprised everyone. Mrs. Patterson, given the circumstances and the disruption to Emma's party, the venue would like to extend your rental time at no charge. We can also arrange for the kitchen staff to prepare fresh desserts if you'd like to restart the celebration properly. The gesture was exactly what the moment needed. Emma clapped her hands in delight as the venue staff began setting up a new dessert display, and the remaining children cheered as they realized the party was truly beginning again. Patricia approached me one final time before leaving with Marcus and their children. Sherry, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know that I'm going to get professional help. and I promise you'll never have to worry about me targeting your family again. I appreciate that, Patricia, but understand that trust has to be rebuilt through actions, not just words. She nodded, accepting the consequences of her choices. As her family left the venue, the remaining guests rallied around Emma to create the magical birthday celebration she had originally dreamed of having. 6 months later, I stood in the same venue where Emma's birthday party had nearly been destroyed. But this time, I was attending Patricia's daughter Ashley's 10th birthday celebration. The difference in atmosphere was striking and heartwarming in ways I couldn't have imagined during those dark moments in September. Patricia approached me as I helped Emma find her place at the carefully decorated princess-themed table. Sherry, thank you for coming. It means everything to Ashley that Emma is here for her birthday. The woman standing in front of me bore little resemblance to the bitter, manipulative person who had tried to destroy my family 6 months earlier. Patricia had lost 15 pounds. Her hair was styled in a softer way that made her look younger. And most importantly, her eyes held a piece that had been missing for years. "How are you doing with everything?" I asked, genuinely curious about her progress. "Yes, therapy has changed my life," she replied honestly. "Dr. Williams helped me understand that I was projecting my own feelings of inadequacy onto other people's success. I was so trapped in my own pain that I couldn't see how I was hurting everyone around me, especially the children." Marcus had found a new job 3 months earlier, relieving the financial pressure that had contributed to Patricia's mental health crisis. But more importantly, Patricia had learned to address her problems directly instead of attacking other people as a way of avoiding her own issues. "Oh, I owe you and Emma more than just apologies," Patricia continued. "You could have pressed charges for harassment, but you chose to give me a chance to get help instead. That choice probably saved my marriage and my relationship with my own children." Emma ran up to us carrying a piece of Ashley's birthday cake and practically glowing with excitement. "Mommy Ashley said she wants to have a sleepover next weekend. Can we have her over to our house?" The friendship between the cousins had blossomed once Patricia stopped poisoning family relationships with her manipulation and lies. Emma had forgiven her aunt completely with the natural resilience children possess when adults make things right. "We'll talk about it with Ashley's parents," I replied, ruffling Emma's hair. "Go finish your cake before they start the games." As Emma skipped away, Patricia watched her with tears in her eyes. "She's such a special little girl, Sherry. I can't believe I tried to hurt her just to get back at you for having what I thought I couldn't have." The extended family had rallied around Patricia's recovery in beautiful ways. Uncle Robert helped her find affordable therapy through community mental health programs. Aunt Susan provided childcare so Patricia could attend her appointments. Jennifer included Patricia in a support group for mothers dealing with financial stress and depression. David had also done significant work to rebuild our marriage after realizing how his complaints to his sister had enabled her attacks on our family. He started his own counseling to understand why he had been so quick to undermine me when Patricia presented her lies. The process had been painful, but ultimately strengthening for our relationship. "Have you talked to Jennifer lately?" I asked Patricia. "Oh, every week," she smiled. "We've become really close since I stopped seeing her as competition and started seeing her as family. It's amazing how much easier relationships are when you're not constantly trying to prove you're better than everyone else." Dr. Martinez had been right about the importance of professional intervention. Patricia's therapy had revealed deep depression and anxiety that had been manifesting as misdirected anger for years. With proper treatment and family support, she had become the kind of sister-in-law and aunt I had always hoped to have. Emma's birthday party had become a family legend, but not for the reasons anyone expected. Instead of being remembered as a disaster, it became the story of how our family learned to recognize manipulation, support each other through crisis, and choose healing over continued conflict. "Sherry," Patricia said as Ashley's party wound down around us. I want you to know that I think about Emma's birthday party every day, not because I'm ashamed, although I am, but because it reminds me that children are watching everything we do. Emma's grace in forgiving me taught me more about being a good person than years of pretending I was fine. As we gathered our things to leave the party, Emma hugged her cousin Ashley goodbye and then surprised everyone by hugging Patricia, too. Thank you for making Ashley's party so beautiful, Aunt Patricia. It's almost as magical as my unicorn party was. In the car on the way home, Emma asked the question that had been percolating in her young mind for months. Mommy, why did Aunt Patricia try to ruin my birthday party before she got better? I had prepared for this conversation, knowing that Emma deserved an age-appropriate explanation that would help her understand adult behavior without losing her natural trust in family relationships. Or sometimes when adults are very sad or scared, they make bad choices about how to handle their feelings. I explained carefully. Aunt Patricia was hurting inside, and instead of asking for help, she tried to make other people feel bad too. But when she realized how her choices affected you and Ashley and the rest of our family, she decided to get help and change. So she wasn't really mean inside, she was just sad. That's right, sweetheart. And the important thing is that when we hurt someone, we have to do the hard work to fix it and make sure it doesn't happen again. Emma nodded thoughtfully, like when I was mean to Madison at school and I had to apologize and be extra nice for a whole week. Exactly like that. Aunt Patricia had to do grown-up work to fix what she broke, and she's still working to keep being a better person every day. As we pulled into our driveway, Emma unbuckled her seatbelt and turned to me with the serious expression she wore when processing important life lessons. Mommy, if someone tries to ruin my birthday party again, you'll stand up for me, right? Always, I promised. And more importantly, I'll teach you how to stand up for yourself when you're old enough, because protecting people we love and fighting for what's right is one of the most important things we can do. That night, as I tucked Emma into her bed, surrounded by photos from both birthday parties, I reflected on the unexpected journey our family had taken. What started as a devastating attack on my daughter's special day had ultimately strengthened our family bonds and taught all of us valuable lessons about honesty, forgiveness, and the courage required to change destructive patterns. Sometimes protecting our children means fighting battles we never wanted to fight. But when we stand up for what's right with love and truth, we teach our children that their worth is never negotiable. We show them that families can survive crisis and grow stronger through the process of choosing healing over hatred. Emma's 8th birthday party will always be remembered as the day our family learned that love sometimes requires fighting for each other, that forgiveness is possible even after serious betrayal, and that children's innocence and joy are worth protecting at any cost. The unicorn party decorations may have been packed away, but the lessons we learned that day continue to guide our family toward deeper honesty, stronger boundaries, and more authentic relationships with each other. As I turned off Emma's bedroom light, I realized that sometimes the most important gifts we give our children aren't the ones wrapped in beautiful paper or celebrated with expensive parties. Sometimes the most valuable gift is showing them that we'll stand up for them when it matters, that we'll fight for truth and justice even when it's difficult, and that love means never letting cruelty toward children go unchallenged. The magic Emma wanted for her birthday wasn't just in the unicorn decorations or the 3-tiered cake. The real magic was in learning that her family would always protect her, that truth eventually wins over lies, and that even broken relationships can be healed when people choose to do the hard work of becoming better. Thank you for listening to our family story of standing up for what's right and choosing love over conflict. I'd love to hear about times when you've had to fight for truth or protect someone you love from unfair treatment. Have you ever had to confront a family member who was hurting others? How did you handle the situation, and what did you learn from the experience? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Like this story. If it resonated with you, subscribe for more real life family stories and share this with anyone who might need to hear that it's always worth fighting for our children's happiness and dignity. Here's to families who choose healing growth and protection of the innocent over everything else.